opportunity. Talk a little bit about Wild at Heart. I mean, you're playing a wild lady, I think.
Yeah, rather wild and vivacious, I would say. Her name is Lula Pace Fortune. She's a Southern girl on the lam, as we would put it, with her boyfriend, who's just gotten out of prison.
And is played by Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And we are heading towards California through the South, and my mother, played by my mom, Diane Ladd, is after us, because she does not see that this is a proper fit boyfriend for me. And we go into the world of the macabre that only David knows how to do the best, you know, with unbelievable characters, and it was quite a journey.
Some of it in New Orleans, I think, is the South.
Yes, in New Orleans and in Texas. We've shot a great deal sort of on the roads in the South.
So it's a road movie in one sense, I guess.
Yeah, it is very much so. It's so weird to me. You know, some people say, what is the movie to you? And I would have to say it's Elvis and Viva Las Vegas and Wizard of Oz and a horror sort of weird, surreal movie and a nice little love story, all combined into one, and David Lynch.
Right.
So it's a really strange movie, but you know, I had an incredible time.
Do you have a fairly fixed script, or I mean, is a lot of it's improvised, or?
Yeah,
does
it's
it change
funny.
much?
Working with David on Blue Velvet, it was completely set. I mean, the script I read is really what was filmed. I mean, except for certain visual images and things that David comes up with, but certainly for dialogue and things. This movie changed drastically from the first draft, which was a little closer to the book it's based on, which is written by Barry Gifford, and David took it into much more of a very weird journey, and the characters became much more extreme and dangerous, and Wizard of Oz was brought into it a lot more. So it sort of took life as we went through rehearsal. And then basically it stayed, except for Nicholas and I's sort of private scenes in our bedroom alone and things like that, where we really got to play around and improv a little bit and stuff and come up with the feeling of Sailor and Lula, our characters, so it was more real.
We have a clip, I think from early in the movie, but set us up for us.
Yes, it's at the beginning of the film, and Sailor is just getting out of prison, and I'm going to meet him at jail, and we're going off onto our journey.
Okay, let's look at that. We'll come back and talk some more with Laura Dern.
Lula. Wow.
Baby, I got a surprise for you.
Hey, my snakeskin jacket. Thanks, baby. Did I ever tell you that this here jacket represents a symbol of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom?
About 50,000 times. I got us a room at the Cape Pier, and guess what? Power Man's playing at the Hurricane.
Stabbing and steer.
They're off to the races.
Yes, off and running.
Oh, that's great. Lynch is such an incredible contrast. You meet him and he's the Eagle Scout out of Missoula, Montana, or something like that, and yet he has all of these really dark visions of America and of people, I guess, and knows about all these dark closets that we keep within us. You know.
It's amazing. I'm such a huge fan because I think, obviously I'm prejudiced, but I think he's such a great gift as a filmmaker, because I always thought that innocence was held because you believed that nothing out there could be bad. And I quickly learned in life that when you are willing to look at the darkness and travel through it and still come out carrying optimism and a belief in love and in life and idealism, then you're really the winner. And I think it's how the world's going to be a better place, and it's sort of what David creates. And I feel very fortunate, not only in Blue Velvet, but in this film, to somehow be the bearer of the light in some way. Even in Wild at Heart, I'm still sort of dark in my own way, but David likes to create heroes that are human. And I think they're much more accessible for us as an audience, which is really a pleasure.
it's an interesting way of looking at innocence as a triumph rather than alternative. I mean, it's a, as you say, it's a triumph over your awareness of everything that's really awful going on out there.
Yeah, and somehow David forces his heroic characters to look inside through what's happening around them and make a decision on what they want to go for in life. And it's really powerful, I think.
And in Blue Velvet, you were really sort of, as I said, the nearest thing to innocence in it, I think, you know.
Completely.
Everybody else was fairly naughty, I think.
Yes. And
Isabel Rossellini, I think, has a briefer part in this, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. She looks very different than she has or does in real life or has in the past, but is wonderful. I mean, it was such an incredible opportunity, not only to work with a family, which David seems to create over and over again with the same crew and cast, but to have such amazing actors in different roles. I mean, Willem Dafoe, Harry Dean Stanton, Crispin Glover, Isabella, my mom. I mean, it's really was a great opportunity. Freddie Jones, you know, all these people sort of come out and have a scene here or there, and they're just pretty extraordinary.
Freddie Jones, this is the English actor, isn't it?
Yes,
yeah.
And he has one scene with Nicholas and I.
Oh, he was in, of course, in
The Elephant Man of David.
Yeah. Right. Oh, my. He was the owner, I think, at
yes,
the point.
Exactly.
The wicked owner of the Elephant Man.
Such a wonderful actor.
Yeah, just terrific. You mentioned earlier on about rehearsing. Do you rehearse the whole thing through, or just are you talking about scene for scene?
Pretty much with David, certainly on Wild at Heart, he rehearsed mostly with Nicholas and I, just for us to get a sense of our characters and each other, because what we decided from the beginning was to play two characters like Sailor and Lula in the film, we had to be one character. They're truly Ike and Mike. They're love personified in a lot of ways, and so we had to become one, and it was, hi, nice to meet you. Now let's be one person on this film. So we really worked on that, and he worked a little bit with my mom and Harry Dean Stanton on their relationship, setting up the two relationships. And then really, once we were off and running, we rehearsed each scene. But he's very open to working and trying to, you know, figure out exactly the essence of each character as a director, which is such a pleasure.
How was this working with Nicolas Cage? Because I don't know if you're out of different acting schools when he's a New York actor, and I think works maybe in a different way from somebody that's started out here.
Yeah, it's funny. We were both prepared separately for each other. You know, sort of my friends or other actors I knew, and same with him, said, well, you know, Nicolas Cage is, he's a strange guy. Like everybody says, Nicolas Cage is a strange guy. And I met sort of one of the sweetest, most, you know, sort of sincere, wonderful guys I'd ever worked with. I was really not only impressed and thrilled to meet someone that was a pleasure to work with, but we really were Ike and Mike. Our sense of humor is the same, and it's the same as David's, so we all had this great bond, and it was a great pleasure. And as far as how we work as actors, we do work differently, and we sort of respected that. You know, before each scene we'd be off doing our own thing or whatever, but somehow we understood each other all the way through, and it was really great.
We have another clip from Wild at Heart. Let's take a look at that, and we'll come back and talk some more with Laura Dern.
Peanut, I'm thinking of breaking parole and taking you out to sunny California.
Sailor!
You up for that?
I'd go the far end of the world for you, baby. You know I would.
Rockin' good news. Those toenails about dry yet, sweetheart? We got some dancing to do.
I've often thought about acting in movies. I've been on sets just enough to watch, and I know that it must be monumentally difficult, because you get up for a scene emotionally, and then it has to be done again. You're doing takes, or there are delays, and so I don't know. How do you do it?
Yeah, it is so